Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. As you talk to me like the first. I feel joy, I feel pain, I feel the same. When the night is gone, I'll be alone.
DJ Sequence.
In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. As you talk to me like the first two. I feel joy, I feel pain, 'cause it's still the same. When the night is gone, I'll be alone. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. As you talk to me like the first. I feel joy, I feel pain, 'cause it's still the same. When the night is gone, I'll be alone.
Look around and see the beauty of the sky. Here for you and me, a wonderful life. Look around and see the beauty of the sky. Here for you and me, a wonderful life. No need to hide and hide. It's a wonderful, wonderful life. No need to laugh and cry. It's a wonderful, wonderful.
Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everybody doing? Have we got some Ethereum holders in the chat? I figured I'm back from holiday. I'm still about 50% mojito. I am the kind of... I think I'm the answer to like the world's shittest riddle of like what's red, white, grey, and slightly bronze. It's me. Some ETH not enough. I feel you, man. That is literally me at the moment. But que sera? Let's have a peep at things and catch up with the market. Bearing in mind, I've been pretty much on the beach drinking mojitos for a week. So yeah, I'm not exactly like in tune with everything that's going on. And you know, whatever is going on is pretty wild. You know, the big question is, are we at the end of a big pump? Are we at the start of a new alt season? All this kind of stuff. And I'll just kind of play through some of my thoughts as to like where we're at now, how I'm going to handle, I guess, coming back from a week being out, what I'm looking for to jump into certain things. I'm kind of going to work it out together because I have not planned this stream at all. You know, usually I've at least looked at the charts. I have not for the last few days. Yeah, hope you're all winning. Hope you are all absolutely chatting. And I am like in the literal degen trenches again with Bonkbot. Obviously, the legends of Bonkbot. Some of you might notice that I sold some of my coins at the top. Those who were paying attention last stream probably made a nice 2 to 5x. But yeah, maybe next time you'll see what I've actually got, because this is like literally my portfolio. Which is, we did this on a stream, didn't we? A few months ago, or weeks ago. And I literally ate the Pico top. So hopefully we'll find something today. And we'll see if there's anything decent. But I'm not really in the like trenches of like what the in memes are at the moment. So we're only going to ape small if we do see something that's worthwhile. So yeah, let's jump into you know, the actual perp positions and all that kind of wonderful stuff, shall we? Like, for me, like, Bitcoin is still just in bull trend, bull up only mode. Like, yes, ETH has absolutely outperformed it. Like, look at it. I did take a short here, not on ETH BTC, but on ETH. So I was short here, I think it was, and it sold off really nicely. You know, and then that, oh no, it was here, wasn't it? It was over here. Sold off really nicely, and then, what was it here? I can't remember. This is what I mean, I'm still like a percentage mojito. But then obviously range reclaim, bosh bosh bosh, that is the kind of, well, if it was going to turn into a strong downtrend, it would have been a rejection, and off we go. That was a really, really nice move. ENA was the other one that absolutely ripped, basically an identical setup, but obviously much better in terms of the actual, actually it's not too much better actually. Yeah, it's sort of 45% or something compared to 47%, whatever, compared to 30 something. That's not too bad considering the liquidity of ETH, etc. versus ENA. Like, again, not too much different. But yeah, fucking hell, it's hot in the UK. Jesus Christ. I had to get my aircon unit. Where the fuck is that? Market's behaving ultra bearish during the US session. Ah, see, this is what I mean. That kind of beautiful insight is something that I just don't have because I've not been trading the last week. You know, time is one big blur, and with a bar that's open 24 hours a day, it becomes quite difficult to tell what time is what, to be blunt. But yeah, I think for me, like, a lot of this stuff is in really, really great positions to just go, well, you know, do I want to take some profits on these kind of things? And like, I had these arbitrary like TP levels from way back when. So like looking at like ENA and stuff like that, like a lot of it was because of like these kind of meme levels going across. And like, if we push in, reject, then that's kind of it. If we push in and hold, then equally, that's kind of the next trade. And it just becomes something like this, you know, a continuation trade. So for me, you know, strong trends. And sorry, my voice is clearly going. You know, in strong trends, all I want to do is just look for pullbacks. I don't want to be like aping tops and just blindly trying to follow the low time frame trend. Like, pullbacks happen, and they will continue to happen, right? It's a healthy market if you get pullbacks. And actually, that doodle is probably the worst doodle illustrating it. So what usually happens is you get a shallow pullback, then you get a deeper pullback, and then like a much deeper pullback, and then the parabolic kind of expansion, and then just like absolutely fucked. Yeah. So, you know, I'm quite happy to be semi-sidelined on ETH. You know, I've still got a fair chunk of ETH. Let's be honest. It's not bad. I'm certainly not crying about it. But did I massively overexpose myself to it? No, I didn't. Despite it being a very, very good opportunity. The reality is that like what we tend to get around like all-time highs is the absolute euphoria of everything is going to pump and OMG, right? Now is the time, I better buy. And everyone gets fucking chopped up here. Like my favorite setups around all-time highs are break through it on a massive euphoric candle and then literally come back and fuck everyone. consolidate, everyone gets really pissed off, and then just send it again. And like if that happens for ETH, like I'm not suggesting this timeline, by the way, this is like a weekly chart, right? I just zoomed out to kind of give you perspective of like the massive range that we're kind of operating in. Even that's a bit dodge. Sorry, still a bit mojito-y. Not seeing any green longs play out in this US session, therefore it isn't a bull market. Let's call a spade a spade. yeah. The last 2 hours have been bearish, so therefore this market is shit. It's fucking over, boys. Pack it up. To be fair, I get like that when I'm trading low time frame rotations, right? Which we'll come on to in a minute in terms of what this is telling me, because this is actually like really interesting in my opinion. But anyway, we'll come on to that. Good afternoon, Carlos. CBS bull posted today, didn't he? Explains the shit PA. Why is he known for bull posting tops, is he? I thought he generally bull posted, but yeah. So like this is like if you haven't got the spot ETH that you want, like this is the kind of setup I'd be looking for, right? I'd be looking for like literally breakthrough former all-time high, and then everyone gets euphoric, and then fuck all happens, and that whole trade just like round trips. If you're longing into former all-time highs and hoping for, you know, no pain, that's not normally my experience. Is it normally fucks around and chops people up, right? Trade to take was down here. If didn't take it, oh well, you know, move on to the next. And there is always another trade that, you know, yes, this has been a fucking incredible piece of price action, yada yada yada, taking like what, you know, 2 weeks, not even that, like just under a week, just over a week, sorry, of literal up only price action. With a small bit of consolidation, you know, barely any pullbacks for a 33% or a nearly 9-hour move. Pretty amazing, but there will be plenty more of them, particularly if, you know, ETH does carry on running and we get the old GCR prophecy of, you know, 10k Ethereum, which when you start looking at this doesn't look too unreasonable, does it, right? So first off, you know, I think this is the kind of next setup. Again, ignore my kind of time frame, but it is. You get that like big sell-off here, and then we get something like this, and then we just fucking run it. We just turbo run it. We turbo run it to that 10k. Again, ridiculous R in terms of trade, in terms of risk reward, but yeah, I think if it does do this consolidation, then the expectancy of it is actually quite high, especially if we get like a strong pullback and a, you know, decent sell-off. That then reclaims into a small, like lower time frame, maybe hourly, 4 hourly kind of range, and then just fucking sends from there. Yeah. So I don't ever like trying to long into the first break of former all-time highs, but yeah, if you want to do that, then obviously go for it. Just not my super aggressive trading style. Yeah, that's kind of it. You know, slightly lower highs on RSI. Slightly lower highs on momentum, just suggesting that this move isn't as strong as that move, which you can look at with your naked eye and see, right? But it just means that you're more likely to kind of get that 3-drive pattern of price going higher and momentum going lower, and then that coincides with, you know, this final kind of way we've hit all-time high and then actually fucking chopping around for a bit afterwards. So that's kind of my short-term thesis. In terms of a good question in the chat from Thomas, what are your current expectations for when the cycle might end? I don't really have anything that's super clear, right? I don't have a kind of, well, it's going to end in 5 days and 52 minutes because I fucking said so, right? And I think a lot of people who do that are just trying to do it for the engagement, trying to do it for the bullshit, etc. Like, there's no, I don't know, the only thing that matters really is your P&L, right? And trying to time the perfect top, etc. is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I can't do it even with charts, let alone just blindly saying, I think, you know, this is the peak of the cycle. Now, if that is right, Friday the 25th of September 26, then obviously I'm going to claim the shit out of it, right? But I don't know how people with a shred of dignity try and do that. You know, as far as I'm concerned, kind of, as long as TradFi just keeps going up and to the right, as long as global liquidity keeps pouring in, which I don't fully understand. I'm not going to laugh about it, but a couple of my friends do, and they are very bullish in the short term, like next 1 to 6 months, and beyond that think that everything is a car crash waiting to happen. But if we ignore that and we say, well, short term good, like we look at this, right? Look at fucking TradFi, like absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. I don't have a very specific end date for this cycle, and I would encourage people not to think of when is it going to end, and just go, how do I make the most of it while it's here, right? What are your plans for taking profits? Like if you've ate Bitcoin up in this range, right? And we haven't really covered Bitcoin, but let's do it ever so quickly, because obviously Bitcoin kind of dictates all other markets. And we've done this a couple of times before. All we're doing at the moment is pissing around, trading in this range, and a really nice run up down here, having another go at the all-time highs again. And this is what I mean, like, this is all-time high. We can't kind of tag it, and this kind of fucking round, this is like exactly what we're seeing with Ethereum right now, right? We're seeing that former all-time highs way back here. Wow, there's the big thing in red. We're kind of approaching it, and now we're starting to lose momentum. Things are starting to sell off. I told people that you've got a week to make generational wealth, and to be fair, people had a fucking really good go at it with this. But I'm back now. I'm back trading, so clearly everything's just gonna fucking die. But yeah, like I don't know why people are trying to just time the absolute pico tops or work out how much juice there is left in the tanks. You don't get any credit for it, right? Best thing you can do is trend follow things or jump into things as trends are starting. So, by that I mean like this trade thesis, and you can go back to last week's stream and watch it. This was a bit of a range. This was a bit boring in terms of like, not too much happening. Strong sell-off, decent reclaim, decent higher low, break of that downtrend and diagonal, yada yada yada, and we start a strong uptrend. So you are speculating at this point that this break is going to lead to a strong uptrend, which it did. It was really good, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of preempting it. Buying here would kind of be joining it, or buying in here, or buying this break of, the highs here and the retest and all that stuff. That's very different, obviously, to this. But my point being that when these trends start being lost, so this is getting a bit messy now, but hopefully you kind of follow what I'm saying, that even if you just start doing things like meme diagonals, even if you start doing things like, where is it? Simple EMA crosses, which, this was kind of above, yada, yada, yada. If you lose these trends, well, then that's this rotation done on the 4 hour, right? That's this done. Well, if you want to sell there, great. You've just made a real nice profit. Yeah, okay, it's not your full 8.9R or whatever, but it's going to be decent, right? It's going to be sort of 7 or something. Yeah, ish. So it's really, to me, it's about having a plan. Like, there's a couple of different scenarios, and I try and think around the extremes of the scenarios as well. So one of the reasons I shorted ETH when it had the divergence back here is actually because my net positioning, I had some spot alts, I had a few alts I was bullish on, I had a few decent trade setups, in terms of like stuff like Pump, in terms of stuff like Litecoin, in terms of, what else we got? We got Anyone, which is a bit slower, but I think that will run. And I had some Fartcoin at some point. I wanted to get some ETC, I want to get some ECH, say, etc. But yeah, had essentially all these spot positions running, and I was like, well, and obviously pretty heavy on spot BTC. So if alts died, and if ETH died with it, like if ETH pulled back massively, which it did for a little bit, then that was kind of my hedge of like, if we actually just went into a fucking boring summer, it was like a tier 1 setup in terms of like, the divergences, etc. Very clear in validation. Yeah, it's more about managing all the possible scenarios that are in front of me and saying, well, how can I position into them? Do I want some exposure? If the market fucking dies and I get stopped out of all of my old positions, what happens? How am I going to make money? Well, probably not. It's probably going to be quite tough. So having a short on ETH from like here or wherever the fuck it was, really, really nice, yeah? Like buying ETH here, to me, not great. There's going to be better opportunities. I think, a breakout and a consolidation, much better. And going back to your original question, I think that is how, like, to play the market, not try and guess when the top is in. Is the top at 250k BTC? Don't know, don't give a fuck. If Bitcoin keeps doing this and keeps going up like this, right, in terms of good market structure, in terms of good high time frame trend, let's go to like a Bitcoin chart, right? Let's just fucking delete all the shit off it. Like, I mean, look at that, right? Look at that from a weekly perspective, yeah? Like, weekly bull cross there. Bullish, 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 bullish. Even if you start like looking at just structure, like we've not really ever pulled back and like attacked very high time frame like lows. Again, even a pullback like down to here, you'd still be bullish from a high time frame market structure perspective. Yes, the momentum is dying a little bit compared to previous runs, but it's also because it's much, much, much higher value. There's much more adoption, blah, blah, blah. Like the point around momentum is that these are consistently lower and so on and so forth. But when you actually get the runs from an awesome oscillator perspective, they could be, or they've consistently been quite high, yeah? So hopefully we get the kind of same here, which would bring it up to, that kind of 140, 150 mark-ish. Yeah, just from a rotation of up, down, up, down, up, down, yeah? Like here's the up-ish. Drawn it a bit badly, but you get the point. So, yeah, not trying to time top. My country starts taxing crypto from 2026. I'm kind of planning on how I'll give them as little as possible. Ah, okay. Sorry, I really ran it on your question there, but I thought it was a good one because it's something I get asked a lot, like, when should I sell? And it's like, what do you mean? Do you think that, like, we have just, like, the playbook? Oh, by the way, the market stops on the 26th of September, or whatever it was. Yeah, as long as we're in a bullish trend, I'm holding. As long as the market has some form of life in terms of altcoins way above Bitcoin, in terms of their returns, I'm holding. I want to be exposed to the market. Yeah, most people asking where to sell. Yeah, that's what they are. They're like, oh, do I sell at 150k? It's like, brother, I don't know. Like, it depends how we get there, right? If we do this in a single candle, I'd probably be selling that bizarrely, or probably be like, this is not great. If we do that and this, and we start just like fucking dying for whatever reason, then yeah, I think I'll probably take some profits. That's like a big euphoric candle, like that looks like end of parabola. Fucking take some profits on that shit. And if that's 150k, that's like me out. Whereas if we're sort of slowly grinding up, we're keeping good market structure, we're still in a bullish trend. Why would I sell it? Why would I sell it? Why would I try and I'm not trying to time the top. When structure changes and when things start getting a bit shittier, I'll sell it then. When or some real momentum divs kind of come out. But yeah, in terms of managing your tax position, obviously I can't give you financial advice. This is not financial advice. The stream is for educational purposes only, and so on and so forth. Yeah, just work it out. Charlie, can you check my vaporware of choice? Resolve USDT. Yes, of course. I particularly like vaporware of choice. I mean, this looks like it's just... This looks like you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be up like 100%. Right? And, that's not because I know what the fuck it is. I've got zero idea what it does. I've got absolutely no clue. The reason that I think projects like this tend to scam who's pump is because, well, firstly, it's on Binance, and they are very good at keeping people kind of entertained like them or not. They are. And secondly, that you've got kind of this little bit squiggly with this, right? Which I'm going to just say is, let's zoom in a little bit, is boshing in for, previous support. Previous support sort of down here obviously looks a little bit different on the hourly and the 4 hour, but resistance, support, support. It's really, really nice. And then you've got this series of consistent high lows here, bosh, bosh, bosh. And then this high time frame resistance here, that every time we deviate above, we've just absolutely got clapped. Now, eventually those sellers subside, and what you tend to get is, this is like meme triangle, isn't it? Consistent demand, higher lows, support, resistance, until it just gives way and fucking scamoos pumps. So, yeah. And it's real simple from here as well. In terms of like, literally just, you can make your R a little bit tighter, but you could even go for something like this. But yeah, it looks fucking juicy from a scamoos pump perspective. Even take like these highs or something. I like your choice, Lucifer. Very good. Very good. Let's have a look. See what's going on lower time frame. So what I like the look of in general is when it's like this. Like, I'm not sure how liquid it is and all that kind of stuff, so I would look at that. But like number one on this rotation, pretty decent. Pretty decent, like that. Like that to me, plus this, it's just like it has relative strength, which means the way I interpret that as like a story is it wants to go. People are bidding this. People are trying to bid the fuck out of it and get it sent. And obviously, if it loses relative strength and all this kind of stuff, or the market just pulls back in general, then fine, not a problem. But you can use this as a really, really good indicator for, let's have a look, risk on, risk off on your specific asset. So I've just dropped the trading view chart in the chat just for people, because generally I think that it's one of the first questions that people ask. But yeah, that's how I use this tool a lot, is just to say, is the altcoin I'm looking at interesting or not relative to the rest of the market. You copy traded me on pump, thank you. Alright, well I get 20% of the profits on copy trades, mate. So I'll DM you my wallet. And obviously any losses, this isn't financial advice, so you deal with those, yeah. Good deal, good deal. Can we talk about the spaghetti chart and how you would play the ones that are clearly strong? I love the stream, thanks for sharing, man. You are welcome, and because you've given me such a lovely compliment, I feel almost compelled to tell you. So I'll use it in a couple of different ways, and obviously I'll share the Paragon group because I've got tons of videos on it. With a very sort of clear-cut system. But in short, I will do predictive trades. So like this is a predictive trade, right? I've got my levels, I've got my theory that this is going to bounce, and resistance, like growing demand. I think that this is going to resolve one way. So I'll use it for confluence that this is a good idea, and then actually my coin, Resolve, which is obviously Lucius, Lucifer Incestus. Can't say it, but I'll try. It's going, you're creating a theory that says, I think this breaks up. This is saying that the market kind of agrees because actually it's holding up really, really well. And there are a few good examples of that when I've had theses like that. And, I've thought, okay, well, this seems to be like, I think this is going to break out and do this or do whatever. And then as soon as you start seeing that relative strength and you start seeing that outperformance, it usually ends one of two ways, like this, or like this, and absolutely comes back into the area of consolidation and your value area, essentially, which is obviously like, a little bit janky if you're doing it in a meme triangle, but that you can usually close at or around break even, so it's not exactly a big loss. And this, obviously that means you were right and the trade pans out really, really well. So that's the kind of predictive confirmation use of spaghetti. The harder way to trade is the reactive, and the reactive side is, as you can imagine, it's reacting to what it's telling you, which is something is outperforming. Now, I trade that less and less these days because the market conditions are just not as strong as they used to be. And for those, what you will tend to see is, right, let's do one now, right? And we're gonna have to make it up a little bit. Let's do anyone, right? Anyone is like having a really nice rotation. Now, this usually isn't how I'd like to see something that is tradable for a rotation. Only because I actually want to see them much more aggressive. So when you see something do this, and something particularly like from down here, from like the lower extreme, like if you see like Desync's been selling off for ages, right? Been selling off for ages, really, really weak relative to the rest of the market. And then it just starts doing this and just starts ripping up. And kind of when it crosses Bitcoin, when it crosses some of the other alts, I'll think, that's quite a nice rotation. But we'll pick anyone for now because it's kind of standing out, right? And bearing in mind, this isn't kind of a perp trade coin or anything like that, but I will flick over to the chart and I'll have a beep and I'll see what's going on with it. Now, I've obviously got most of my charts marked up anyway. So that's one of the reasons that I don't delete all my shit, right? Because I like having levels marked up. But, if I didn't, then I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, well, I've got this level going across here. It's pretty clean pivot, right? Doesn't matter what time frame you look at, as long as it's higher-ish enough. I'm going, all right, well, anyone is pretty strong. Now I need to go to the low time frame and consider what's actually going on here, right? Let's go to like hourly. Well, kind of similar to Resolve. I've got this good, strong pattern of consistent higher lows. I've got this resistance across here. Obviously, I would like to have had a few more tags like over here or something, and then you've got your simple kind of meme triangle breakout, right? And let's pretend that this was on, much better relative strength, i.e. it's kind of like that vertical relative strength that we talked about. This to me sort of would signal that this would be the breakout, right? This would be the time that we get that rotation. And I'd be really aggressive in my stops on that, yeah? If this was a super liquid perp, which it isn't, I'm just kind of illustrating. So, and all this happens quite fast. So you've seen this, you've seen the outperformance, you've seen it's relatively very strong compared to the rest of the market. You've gone from a high time frame setup, understanding the high time frame contextual levels that the coin's operating in, down to the lower time frame to say, okay, yeah, that's all great, Charlie, but what the fuck is actually going on a low time frame? Do I want to be bullish at the highs? Do I really want to be going for this as a rotational trade? And you go, well, I've kind of got the confluence that actually there's this like vertical movement on spaghetti. It's cutting through, it's moving differently to the rest of the market, which obviously isn't in this illustration, but you get the point. And then you just gamble. And sometimes it rips and you get your trade, and sometimes it does this, and sometimes it just does fuck all. And you either get stopped out or you cut it quite quickly because you see that relative strength is dying and you go, well, actually, this was relatively strong and now it's gone back to the medium of the pack, or the mean of the pack, and it's, now not particularly great, right? So your theory has kind of been confirmed as not right because the market has changed and updated, and your ability to react to what the market is telling you, I think, is really what makes you a good trader. I have a thesis by all means, but if you are low time frame rotational trading, you cannot be afraid to be wrong, because you will be wrong a lot. But the market gives you some really nice signals, so minimizing your losses is honestly just, it sounds fucking stupid because it is, and it's obvious as fuck, right? But minimizing your losses and just cutting them early when the market is telling you that you're clearly wrong is an absolute necessity for low time frame rotational trading. So yeah, that's it. How are you? Have you already bought Zeus? Already did a 2x since you faded it last stream. Seems to be preparing for the next higher leg. Can you take a look? Still think it can 20x. My brother in Christ, like, I mean, no, I don't think it can run. I told you that last stream. I mean, it's down 20% on the day. I mean, anyone else in the chat care to comment on this? Like, yeah, it's run a bit, but I don't particularly see the narrative. You know, Pepe is one of the coins that I thought would do amazingly, given the ETH strength, but it just hasn't. You know, structurally, not great. Like, memes in general haven't been as good on these rotations. Like, again, a series of kind of high and lows, but nothing really amazing, nothing really outstanding, right? ETH looks like it's near a parabolic top on the weekly. Oh, my brother in Christ, are you going to make me commit the cardinal sin, are you? Let's get a fresh ETH chart, fuck this. No, it does look pretty redonkulous, doesn't it? I'd say based off like meme parabolas, it's still probably got a little bit more in the tank. But, you know, we looked at it earlier and there's definitely like a loss of momentum between the highs, but it's still, I still don't think it's done as a trade, right? What I know about Zeus, they have some smart, same art as a few rug projects before. Oh, rip. Pepe's dog and they have IP rights as well. Yeah. Imagine you're loose for a second, you make good money on ETH and you're looking to rotate as it's your majority of your portfolio. Do you think it's too late to rotate to other vaporware? Ooh, good question. Probably not. I don't know how I'd play it right now, to be honest. So, like, I'm a little bit mixed, and this is what I mean. It's like I'm not 100% in the zone. The cautious part of me wants to just go, okay, well, kind of like the ENA trade's played out, the ETH trade's played out, blah, blah, blah. Let's just kind of chill. And obviously personally got other bags running, things like Litecoin, you know, these ones basically, like they're all kind of running. Various sizes, various whatever, yeah. And like, do I want to join some of this? Nah, not particularly. You know, not at this point in time. I think Sol, from a high time frame perspective, is quite interesting. You know, this consolidation basically across all of this, like, for me, there's a big part of me that thinks like Sol is the next rotational trade. But do I want to ape in here? Like, absolutely not. Would I rotate some of my profits to some of the Ponzi's? Yeah, I think you're. Oh, hello, anyone. Good morning. You know, the kind of setup you talked about on Resolve is great. You know, and if you find like multiple ones of those and set alerts on breakouts and stuff like that, which is what I will be doing when I am back to trading, you know, full time, is looking for those rotations and looking for those breakouts, right? So I don't think it's too late to rotate to other vaporware. I think there's going to be lots of little rotations and pumps. I think if you're looking to chuck in your entire stack into like the next big rotation, I personally don't know what that is. I haven't got a strong thesis on anything. Sol is probably the only thing that comes close to that for me personally. But there's a big part of me that was like, well, we had the Sol run. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sol was not done. I don't want to say it's done, because every time I say something's done, it then fucking rips 500x. But yeah, it's kind of like, I think if Sol can break out of this massive like range, then it probably just runs again. But yeah, bit of a shit answer, really, isn't it? You can tell I'm not not on form. You know, would I be rotating into stuff like useless here? Maybe. You know, it's not too bad, but like I prefer that basically the setup that we talked about earlier, which is, you know, massive high time frame pivots, lots of higher lows, bosh, 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 and then either entering like here or here and just going for that big breakout. So yeah, I think if you're playing rotations on alts, you'll do very well. But I think if you're looking to just park a massive lump sum, I don't know. I wouldn't be at this point. You know, I think that looking at how ETH is at the moment, like, it wouldn't be unreasonable to get a pullback and to get like a decent higher low. You know, I'm not saying short the fuck out of it, but just keep some capital for buying dips. Drop me another one, but perhaps this is a bit too early for it. Prompt. At least for firing them off. What? This is... Right, I'm probably gonna have to shoot in a bit. Yeah, see, this I don't like as much. This is... Yeah, I think you're right. It's too early for it, right? Like, looking at it, very clean support, but very strong downtrend in terms of, you know, kind of consistent lower highs. Like, you got this attempt, but it closed below it. Yeah, structurally, it's just doing this. It's much, much, much weaker. But, you know, reverse that round and go, okay, so what would make you bullish, Charlie? Like, breaking out of this accumulation range. And this is where, like, I find, like, having, like, alerts. So, bosh, get an alert on there. Bosh, job done. Like, I've now just said, okay, I've created a primer for future Charlie to look at this and go, do you want to long this? Do you want to trade this breakout? Is it good? Is it interesting? You know, I think a lot of people get like frozen out in these kind of conditions and just sideline and go, ah, fuck, I missed 30% on ETH, so I'm going to kill myself. You know, like, no, that's not how you do it, right? Literally, stuff like this. Just look at the next trade opportunity, and just find them. Like, that's when I would enter. Purely because I don't think you've got enough to go off in terms of like, yeah, it's a slight higher low, just about in the range, like, meh. It's pretty meh. I think from a capital rotation perspective, I like buying here, and then if I'm wrong, cutting it quickly, if it doesn't like rotate well. Because if you get 10 of these setups and they ping at different times, boom, 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 you know, 10%, 20%, 10%, 20%, loss, 20%, 10%, you've made a fuck ton of money. That's kind of my thesis. But anyway, on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will love you and leave you. I mean, it's almost like I just went and aped a ton of ETH. I'm gonna do that because, come on, on chain just to make my trade idea right. Yeah. I've just grind sideways. The relative strength is usually gone, so you cut it. Yeah, exactly that. If your thesis is based on a breakout and based on times like this, so like by virtue of the fact that this is a series of higher lows, you're kind of saying that you want this trend to continue, and that if it does this, your trade is kind of invalidated here, right? Your trade is invalidated on the basis that that momentum has stalled and you are not creating higher lows. Yeah? So it's kind of it. But yeah, the more trades that you can buy on breakouts of range consolidations, to me, this is the time, you know, when the market's risk on, timing a couple of these can be absolutely life-changing. So, yeah. I will love you and leave you all there. Thank you very much for joining the stream, especially at short notice. We will be back to our usual schedule of Tuesday evenings, this Tuesday coming. And thank you to everyone who has liked the stream, come here. And thank you to those guys who have signed up for BonkBot and are enjoying that. If you've got any feedback on telemetry by BonkBot, then drop me a DM and I will endeavor to read it. But just check, you know, before writing me an essay. Just say something like, "Hi, I'm from stream. Enjoy the mojitos." I haven't got any mojitos, unfortunately, mate. I've got a pack of knickknacks next to me because I'm British. But yeah, no mojitos. I might have a beer though tonight. Because I don't want to sober up too quickly. That'd be horrendous. But anyway, love you and leave you all. And thank you once again. Au revoir.